And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have everybody here with me. It's a new year, actually old project. We're working on an old project. But this is a project I started over a month ago, actually probably like 2 months ago. And I think this is going to be my third or fourth, actually maybe fifth session working on this one. Anyway, it's almost done. I've got the dog done. I've got the man almost done. The pose. Basically, the only thing I have left to do is I want to kind of sculpt creases into the clothing where this rope is like tightly grabbing onto him, and then that will it'll show how he's being squeezed and killed by this leash, and uh, and then maybe a couple other like tiny little tweaks for posing, but then that's gonna be it on this guy. This will be done. Um, I'm actually kind of thinking I might want to pose so he's leaning back slightly. Yeah, just to make it so he's not standing up quite so straight. So yeah, anyway, I'm just going to jump right into this. Welcome everybody. Go ahead and put your name, location in the chat, and feel free to ask any questions. And I'm happy to pause and answer any questions anybody has. Got my tea going, ready to hit it. So let's get started. Gonna have him rock back on his heels a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like something like that helps balance. So he's like shocked and well, he's dead, so he's starting to fall backwards. Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. Oh, I forgot to bring up the reference for this guy, but I've already deviated a bit from the reference anyway. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna make this my own from this point because in the reference, he's not tied up as much with the rope. The rope is just kind of like going around his neck once or something, and I kind of like made it going around more and more. So um, yeah. All right, so let's see. In order to make this happen, I'm going to sculpt some creases onto his clothing to show that it's being like pulled tight with a lot of pressure, and on his head too. Actually, let me start with his head. Just getting the crease brush out, my handy crease brush, and yeah, just gonna like make some indentations for this rope to sit in, and then I'll push the rope into those indentations. I wonder if this is enough. I don't know if that's like quite as visible as I was hoping. I'm gonna try to undo that. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna make it a little bit more intense. Yeah, that's good. Oh, a little too much in places. All right, now that I've pushed the skin in a bit, I just need to push the rope in a bit. So it just sits inside that crease a little bit more. So anyway, while I'm working, anybody have any fun stories about the holidays? I went and visited my mom in Idaho. It was very, very, very chill. I think some of the rope on the body is going to be tighter than some of the other rope because, yeah, some of this is like hanging loose, so it doesn't all need to be like pulled super taut around him, but somewhat taut will be nice. Yeah, I think mostly it's important to have that dig in on the silhouette, just so you can see where the clothing's pulled in, right where the rope is touching it in silhouette, and that's kind of like the most important part. Pretty quiet in the chat today. Makes me wonder if this stream is even live. If anybody is watching this, please leave a note in the chat so that I know that I'm even live. Hey, Motion Design Builder, or Berlin, Motion Design Berlin. Great to have you in the chat today. How's it going? What is the best way to jobs with ZBrush? I think the best way is to make a portfolio of things that you enjoyed making, and then get that portfolio online, but don't wait for people to find you online. Like go to real life, like in-person events and start meeting people at those events, and then you'll have something to point them to that they can go look at after they've met you. I think that's the best way to get jobs with ZBrush. We got Skimminies. Hello. I guess Nightbot is a Pixelogic bot. Every once in a while, these live streams get spam bots in them too, so gotta watch out for that. So something I've been thinking about. You guys probably heard me talk enough about AI already. Probably sick of it, but I thought about something really kind of I think important. I don't know, something that's kind of shifted my perspective on AI a little bit, um, which is that. So I think a lot of my position on AI and art has been like opposed to using AI in art because the AI is making the creative decisions for the most part and not the human. And while I still think that's a big problem, I think there are some people out there who are using AI in a way where they're still like maintaining um, creative control for the most part, or at least a large degree of creative control. And as long as the human is like in creative control for the most part, like I think that's great. I think people being creative and expressing that creativity is great. And I guess my problem with, and not even just AI art specifically, but like art in general, I think a lot of times um, an issue I've had with some kinds of art is that the human isn't actually doing that much. And I'm talking about like um, minimalist conceptual art. Like, I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, there was Art Basel in Miami, and someone taped a banana to the wall and called it art, and it sold for like, I don't know, millions of dollars. And and I'm like, really? And I feel kind of the same way about a lot of AI art. You know, a lot of it's just low effort, just like, oh, I had a funny idea, and then they just typed it in and got a video, and like, congratulations, I guess. And that's how I feel about the banana tape to the wall. It's like, okay, like, but like, what did you actually do, right? Having the idea to tape a banana to the wall at Art Basel is not any more brilliant than any other idea you could type a prompt in and get a video for. So, like, where's the art? But I think I've been seeing more and more people using AI in a way that maintains their own creative control and using it in a way that they're able to like make a lot of the creative decisions. And I know you can't like even in traditional art, it's like you're not the artist isn't even consciously making all the creative decisions. Like a lot of times, you know, like great painters and sculptors, they let the media that they're working with like make decisions for them sometimes, right? It's like you're painting and just the way the paint happens to splash out onto the canvas does something beautiful and you use it and you go with it. And the human didn't decide to do that necessarily. And so I'm okay with like some decisions being made by the AI, but I think in order to call it art, there has to be, you know, I guess the more human decisions being made, the more artful it is. Um, so anyway, that's some stuff I've been thinking about lately. If anybody has anything they want to add to that or whatever, feel free to talk about it in the chats. Jonathan Webb, uh, this is the ending of Bill Plimpton's Guard Dog. Yes, I modified the pose somewhat, just for my own sculptural purposes, so it's not exactly like the film, but I felt like I wanted to make some changes for artistic purposes. But I guess that's a frustrating thing for me about AI art because I thought, oh, I'll play around with AI video and I'll play around with like Comfy UI and I'll try to like, use it in such a way that I'm bringing my own artistic voice to it and not just letting the AI make creative decisions for me. And I actually found it to be a pretty frustrating experience trying to coax the Comfy UI and the video model, et cetera, into doing what I wanted. And it was so frustrating and it's kind of almost it felt so impossible to get it to do what I wanted it to do that I just gave up. But there are some people out there who are, putting in a lot of time and effort into figuring out how these things work in order to creatively direct them. And I guess I respect that. I respect being able to put in the work to make something beautiful and have that creative control over it. Jonathan Webb, in 2010, you were just learning ZBrush and you worked on the Karate Bird scene in the Guard Dog Global Jam. Okay, so why did I not know about the Guard Dog Global Jam? What is that? Um, Tell us more about the Guard Dog Global Jam. I never even heard of that. What is that? Oh, right, right. I love it. Yeah, when they go and reanimate, or people animate. I've seen like the entire film of Star Wars was like reanimated like every 8 seconds. It was a different animator or something like that. Yeah, that stuff's cool. Um, so you reanimated the Karate Bird scene. Oh, that's really cool. Uh, Onjik asks, "What material is this?" This is a custom material that I made, and it's you can get it as part of my Ryan's Tools Pro plugin. So let me type in the chat an address for that. So there's a link in the chat. And if you get the $20 version, it comes with a bunch of extras like custom brushes and materials and alphas and my gizmo, for example, which is really super cool. Um, and yeah, that material you get with it is just a really great material for sculpting. It really helps show off the form. You know, if there's other materials like this is the one of the leather redshift materials, which is great, you know, for coloring because it you can color on it and you see pretty accurately what the color is you're putting on it. But maybe it doesn't show off the three-dimensional forms as clearly as this one. This one is like whatever is going on that surface, like any sort of irregularities. Like so, yeah, for example, already I can see here on this guard dog, there's like a little bit of like artifacting left over from, I don't know, Dynamesh or something. And you can see it here with this material. But like a lot of other materials, it's like, where did it go? So it just kind of helps me see, okay, I need to smooth that out. So it's a great material for spotting flaws in your model, just to make it that much better. And then when you go to any other material, then it's just going to be absolutely perfect and you're never going to see any problems with it ever. Thanks, Luke Caicedo. Sean Abel, art teacher, asks, what is my preferred software for finishing, painting, and material, or do you do it all in ZBrush? It depends on what the output is. If it's for 3D printing, I'll usually do it all in ZBrush. But if I need to make a PBR material for rendering or games or something, I'll tend to do that in Substance Painter. So typically, yeah, for 3D printing, it's like you don't need to worry about PBR materials because it's just, the materials, whatever the printer prints. Um, so it doesn't need to be as involved or precise or anything. Uh, so yeah, I'll just do that in ZBrush usually. All right, so I got all those depressions I wanted to make in the upper body. Actually, I'm just going to tweak a little bit more. There is a little, some tweaks I want to make here and there. Yeah, sure thing, Sean, able teacher. All right, yeah, so I got the upper body done, and let's see. Oh yeah, I started on the pants too. I forgot. Just want to emphasize the pants a bit more, actually, in a few places, especially on the silhouette. I'm thinking I might want to extend this one loop of rope down farther, just so it hangs down and it's visible, like behind him from the front view, just for more, just a little bit more visual interest, a little bit more like sense that this rope is really tangling him up. So I'm just going to try that out. And if it doesn't work, I'll just put it back where it was. Yeah, I kind of like that. And being able to see the rope behind the figure is kind of like it just adds a little bit of extra visual interest and makes the viewer be like, oh, what's not going on the backside? And then they come back around and they see all these tangle of rope. So yeah, I think sculpturally that's a good creative decision. Hey, thanks, Sean. My gizmo is my own custom gizmo. So I really like it just because it's like it makes it really easy to see, move, rotate, scale on the various axes. Feel like the one that comes with ZBrush, I don't know, it's just not my favorite. And then you get global scale, of course, and then you got move in screen space, and then rotate in screen space. So it's like all the screen space controls are like in this ring, and then all of the individual axes are here color coded and just really easy to see where they're at. So yeah, that's part of Ryan's Tools Pro Extras, $20 value. So yeah, go ahead and pick one of those up today. All right, I'm gonna see. So right now he's pretty symmetrical. I mean, his head is kind of turned to one side a bit, but the body is very symmetrical. And I'm thinking I might try to work out just a little bit of asymmetry into his body pose. Um, where it makes sense, maybe like one of the arms is kind of like bent in an interesting way. For balance, I'm going to do his left arm because his head's turning to his right and these extra rope details are on the right. So I think for balance, and also the dog is moving to his right. So for balance, I'm going to make his left hand have some, I don't know, just do something kind of interesting with the fingers, with the pose of the fingers. Just trying to see with my own hand like what I might do. Trying to give him a kind of like a tortured appearance. Right. Oh, I did the wrong finger. I didn't want to do that with that finger. Never mind. Hey, thanks a lot, Tumelochoma. I remember the early days of the internet when people had easily pronounceable names. Oh, that reminds me, I have a new website up for my business. Let me put in the www so it makes it a link. Did that didn't make it a link either. I don't know what's up. Do I have to put HTTPS colon slash slash to make it a link? Because it was like the other one, my Ryan's Tools link, it automatically made it a link. Why doesn't it make my website a link? Anyway, you can just type in zalid.art. or copy and paste it. But yeah, that's my new personal website, or not, yeah, my personal business website, showcasing the work that I do specifically for fine art clients, because that's what I focus on for my professional work is fine art sculpture. Let's see, who was Jonathan Webb? I think you were mentioning that you worked on that Guard Dog Global Jam. Is the result of that somewhere? Actually, I think I'm the only one that can post links, and the night bot can post links, but I don't think anybody else can post links in here. But I guess if you just tell me what to search for on YouTube to find it, I guess Guard Dog Global Jam 2010 is probably what I would search for. But yeah, or warn me to not even bother if it's not online somewhere. But that would be really cool to watch. I'll check out your Ninja Bird. The Karate Bird, whatever it was. Another thing in my Ryan's Tools plugin that's really handy is this thing called center pivot to joint. So like if you have a gizmo, right, and you've got it masked off, so you want to bend it. By default, you have to like hold down Alt and like manually move the rotation point, and then you have to move your view and like rotate it again to make sure it's like centered in your um, centered where you want to rotate that joint from. But in Ryan's tools, there's this feature, and it's just a hotkey, or it's a button if you just push the button, but I have it on a hotkey, and it just automatically moves that pivot point right to the center of the geometry so that you're bending from the center of the joint. It's little things like that just make life so much easier. So here again, hotkey, boom, moved. Done. So anyway, just experimenting to see if there's like a alternate hand position that like works better for this. Kind of like that. Yeah. Jonathan Webb, did you get to meet Bill Plimpton as part of that event? I guess it was all done online, or was there any sort of like in-person screening or anything that you went to? Bill Plimpton's originally from nearby Portland, Oregon, which is where I live, and so he's always in town and he's always going to like the animation festivals here in town and stuff. So I've met him a few times, and I also met him when he showed up on the film set for Wendell and Wild when I was working on it. Because he's like friends with the director and stuff, so he showed up on to the studio and got to meet him then, which was really cool. Oh yeah, yeah. I can't stand Z sphere rigging. So anyway, I think I'm getting pretty close to being done here with this guy. There's really not much left to do. Um, trying to think if I was preparing this for 3D printing, which I would like to 3D print this, but then now I have to think about like, okay, do I have to, how would I separate this into different pieces so that it's like easier to print? Like, printing the arms separately probably is something I would want to think about. For the dog, do I print him with the base? Do I not print him with the base? I don't know. Those are all things to think about. Thanks, Jonathan Webb. Yeah, yeah. Bill Plimpton, he's like one of my favorite artists of all time. He's the goat. Actually, I do want to do one thing for these teeth. The way I made that, it's like super razor sharp, and I'm a little bit concerned that it won't print well. So I'm gonna give let's see, I'm gonna do something for these teeth so that they have some more thickness at the tip. Um, Yeah, just something as simple as that. It's gonna help those teeth be not razor sharp. Guess I better go do that on the other side too. Oh, there's the spam bots. Yeah, Jonathan Webb. Yeah, I started from primitives. So yeah, for cartoony models, I think starting from spheres basically and like slapping spheres together, especially for the guard dog, right? It was like one sphere for his body, one for the head. And then yeah, I went through this process of like using live booleans to create. Well, I used like a donut shape for the eyes, and then um, had like a sphere for each of his like upper lip areas. And then, of course, some of the spheres need to be stretched out and squashed or whatever. But yeah, it was this really like fun process of just like building up with primitives and then dynameshing it together and smoothing out the transitions and then kind of sculpting asymmetry and stuff. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. And then the guy also, yeah, kind of similar. His head started out as a bunch of primitives stuck together, and then yeah, it's yeah, go definitely go back and watch it because the whole process is it's really fun, really interesting. I mean, it's what I love to do. So, oh, you know what? He needs a tongue. He needs some kind of tongue in here. Yeah, you got it, Jonathan Webb. Trying to find a position for this tongue that is maximally hilarious. Yeah, highly recommend anybody if you haven't seen Guard Dog by Bill Plimpton, like get on that today. That's your homework assignment. Funnest homework assignment ever. And then just spend the rest of the day watching Bill Plimpton shorts on YouTube. That's a day well spent. So yeah, just a lot of little tweaking things to do here. Making sure the rope is nice and tight to the body. No weird gaps left behind. I got a little overzealous in a few places. I've been watching Pluribus on Apple TV. Anybody else watching that? What a cool show. I just love Vince Gilligan. Like Breaking Bad is like the best show ever. So I was really excited to see another show from him. Yeah, I need to prep this for print and send it to my good friend Scott Denton. So he'll print it on his 3D printer. I keep turning off the thickness on the clothing and then going and seeing, oh no, there's these gaps I got to fill in, and then not realizing that I'd turned the thickness off and that changes like the gap between the rope and the body. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I pushed it in too far now. Oh well, doesn't matter. Trying to cultivate a Bob Ross attitude for sculpting, you know what I mean? All right, let me actually seriously think about 3D printing this. So, figure like this, maybe I'd want it to be like 5 inches tall. which is what this is about 4.6. It's not too bad, not too bad. So how thick would this rope be? Oh yeah, that's about 1 millimeter thick, which is kind of thin. I'd want that to be like almost double thickness. Like 2 millimeters is kind of like the minimum for stuff like this, so that it doesn't break. Then it starts to get kind of chonky. It's not too bad. Let's see, how thick is this now? Yeah, it's still not quite 2 millimeters thick, which does worry me for 3D printing. Oh yeah, and then his legs. So maybe just need to make the whole print a little bit bigger. Then I need to like look up the size of the printer. I forget exactly which printer Scott has. I don't want to print it on my own because this would actually be a nightmare to print on my printer because it's a resin printer. Removing all those supports without breaking these things, yeah, that's gonna be a pain. And my printer's been failing a lot lately, so I'm just not even gonna try it. But anyway, here's the finished product, you guys. Pretty happy with it. I'm just gonna save it. And yeah, so that's, only put in about an hour today, but yeah, that's all I needed to get it to the finish line. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a good one. I'm doing a live stream next week, same time, Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So I'm going to start a new project next week. And get this, it's going to be like I like to do a competition. So I'll just start sculpting something and not show the reference, not tell you what it is I'm sculpting. And then the first person to get it wins a free copy of Ryan's Tools Pro, even a $20 value. Get that. So yeah, tune in next week, same time, same place, and well, I'll start a new piece, and it'll be a competition, win prizes, and yeah, we'll just have a lot of fun. All right, have a great week, everybody. Happy New Year.